Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to TEFL third meeting. We are going to discuss the current issues in English language teaching. Alright, this discussion employs three topics. The first is current teaching and learning approach. The second, you are going to discuss new trend of language teaching and learning. And the last, how is English language teaching in 2013 curriculum in Indonesia, of course. Then let's remind for a while the difference between approach, method, and procedure, or even technique. Last week we have discussed a lot about this. Alright, if you have read the book from Richards and from Brown and also from Kumaravadivelu, they have written a lot about the models of to see approach, method, and technique. But the first one, Antonis has conducted a short research about this, and he make a hierarchy for approach, method, and techniques. Thus, his hierarchy put approach as the philosophy thumb, then it is continued by method, then the technique is the detailed one. But according to Jackson, Richards, and Rogers, Anthony's proposal in 1963, this is too general and too broad. Jackson, Richards, and Rogers says that teaching and learning process can employ many aspects that cannot be covered by Anthony's proposal. For example, the roles of teacher, the roles of students, the roles of syllabus. Then Jackson Richards make a bit a difference because they put method as the main part of this teaching and learning process. I mean, approach is part of the method itself, but the definition of approach is also based on Anthony's. But here the method is the big thing. So that's why Jackson Richards put that method can consist of approach, design, and procedure. And only in designs, teacher can explain what is the roles of teacher, what is the roles of students in that when they implement such kind of method. So if you want to read, if you want to see the model, you can see the book from Fahru Rosi or from Douglas Brown. And the last proposal is from Howard Douglas Brown. I think his proposal is just an adjustment by adding refining some of terms. The other are the same for approach, method, and technique are almost the same with Antonis and Jackson Richards, but he add one methodology. So methodology is different from method. If methodology is pedagogical practice, means theory, underpinning, and related research consideration are involved in how to teach and are methodological. But the method itself is a generalized plan, a set of teaching practice in the classroom. Okay, so it is just a reminder for the difference between approach, method, and technique. Okay, let's see how is the current teaching and learning approach in English language teaching. Here we go. After this topic, you are going to discuss some traditional method then into the current method. Right? So teaching and learning, English teaching and learning start from teacher-centered. The issue of teacher-centered has been left away. Then it is substituted by the Yeah, this is the main point, that learner is the centers of learning. Learner or student are the centers of learning. That's why teacher centered is left and it changed by student centered. Student centered is seen from three approach of language teaching. It can be from constructivist and contextual learning, and the last is cooperative learning. Alright, let's start from constructivist approach. It's this depart from I think after the what is that? Some scientists leave the behavioral approach. If you have behaviorism, if you have ever learned about basic education, you can see these kinds of approach. It is originally from Piaget, that learning is not a process of accumulating facts or developing skill, but a process where a child actively construct understanding of the world based on his or her experience. Alright, so it is a construct knowledge, not an accumulation. The learning is constructed process. This is an example of constructivist principles from Johnston 2001 with 6E cycle model. The first E is N, the second is engagement, exploration, explanation, and elaborations. We are going to discuss it directly in the class virtual conference. Then we go to this one. Constructivism approach start from cognitive psychology, humanism, and social interactionism have had strong impact on language teaching philosophy and methodology. Language teaching learning is seen as dynamic process in which learner construct their own personal. So it's about how learner construct their own personal understanding or meaning from their experience in the social world around them. So it is not about accumulation or the end of thing, but how the learning process someone's self. The first, the learner is seen as an active meaning maker. It is important to develop conceptual understanding and so on. You can read by yourself. I have given this PowerPoint in my in e-learning. Right. It's personal construct. It's dependent upon previous experience. How they think and feel about futures are influenced. Learning is not an accumulation of memorized fact, but rather a process of making sense and making new knowledge onto the old. Learning takes place only when the learner perceives personal relevance. That's why meaningfulness is quite important in our teaching and learning process. A sense of personal identity, independence, creativity, and self-reliance all grow in atmosphere of trust and unconditional positive regard. Let's see to the second approach, contextual approach. There are 7 components of contextual approach. I have made a book using CTL or contextual teaching and learning from 7 states. The first is constructivism, questioning, inquiry, learning community, modeling, and reflection. The last is authentic assessment. I think this is quite good steps. Yeah. Start from how to construct student knowledge, then questioning. It is a way to evoke their interest. Then inquiry, how do the student explore an object. Learning community, learning with the peer, maybe with the friends, and modeling, of course. Learning, teaching and learning is about giving a model for the students. Then reflection, the last is authentic assessment, of course. This is one model of CTL. Another model is from Crawford 2001 with the short term, or we have mnemonic for this, sorry, mnemonic react. Yeah. R for relating, experiencing, applying, cooperating, and transferring. So it is contextual, how it relates to the real conditions of the students, how student experience, for example, the language used in some specific places, how do students apply it, how do they cooperate their experience with new knowledge, then transferring into one or whole knowledge. Then the last approach is cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is from Slavin. It is not from Slavin actually, but Slavin has proposed good concept about cooperative learning. Cooperative learning, or the idea that students should work together to learn and are responsible for their teammates' learning. Cooperative learning claims that group work is better than individual competition. In a simple term, cooperative learning is like a small group teaching and learning. All right. So those three approaches are applied in the curriculum 2013. I'm going to discuss in the end of the PowerPoint. Next, the second is about new trends of language teaching and learning. So it is about today's. It is what we face today: distance learning, how to set up classroom, and the term e-learning, blended learning. You must be familiar about this. Yeah, this is the pictures of how today's education, right? Yeah. Skip this. What to do before teaching online. So it is just a preparation when next time you have to face the same condition when you become teacher. How to set up a class when you are not facing your student. Yeah, creating online teaching framework is not as easy as creating offline teaching. So lesson plan and curriculum mapping is a must. Facilitating discussion, this one, synchronous, asynchronous, and hybrid are really challenging for maybe senior teacher. Now, keeping your student engaged in online learning. These are some tips I got from www.l.com. Yeah, I can have a communication in multiple formats and so on. Make learning social, provide active learning opportunities, gamify with badges and certificates, and so on. Now this one. Schedule live class via Zoom, Skype. And the last is TEFL in curriculum 2013. As every maybe you have done with this curriculum. So the main point of the curriculum 2013 is about how to use scientific approach. But in fact, English language teaching itself is not really suitable to use scientific approach. That's why in the models of teaching and learning in 2000 curriculum, there have been proposed several models of teaching. Some of them is by applying cooperative learning, CTL, genre based, and many others. Alright, let's continue our discussion in Google Meet. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.